Hello guys! I have returned well rested from my summer vacation in Scandinavia. My youngest son and I saw fantastic landscapes, slept in the motorhome in beautiful places, and of course I also had some time to take photos. In today's video, I would like to give you some tips and tricks for successful shots of streams, rivers, small and large waterfalls and lakes. Enjoy watching, and if you like the video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much in advance. What equipment did I use? The pictures shown here were taken with my Sony a7R4 and the Canon EF4 24-70mm L on the Sigma MC11 adapter. As I only wanted to take one filter diameter with me for all the lenses of all systems, I decided on this Canon lens. I also took analog cameras such as the Canon EOS RT, Canon EOS 600, and the Canon EF 4.5 to 5.6 100 to 400mm L, IS version 2, as well as the Nikon F5 with the Nikkor AFS 3.5 5.6 28 to 300mm VR. With the Nikon F5 and the aforementioned Nikkor lens, as well as the analog EOS models, I only used one specific type of film at a time, but this will be the subject of further videos. Surely you know pictures that look like paintings, pictures in which you can literally feel the movement. Taking such pictures yourself is not difficult at all. You will need a tripod to match your camera. Make sure it packs down small and choose the load capacity according to your equipment. If your camera with lens weighs 1.5 or 2.5 kilograms, a tripod with a maximum load capacity of 5 or 6 kilograms is usually sufficient. This puts you on the safe side, even if you want to buy larger and heavier equipment. Also pay attention to the tripod head. It should hold the set position securely. Nothing is more annoying if you have chosen your image section carefully and then the lens head moves a few millimeters. I like to use carbon tripods because they are light and stable. Inexpensive and good tripods, which I use, are available from K&F or Rolei, for example. You will need the tripod, as longer exposure times are necessary for the desired movement effect. Depending on the camera model, automatic exposure times of up to 30 seconds are possible, in exceptional cases even longer. Always use the self-timer. This reduces the blurring caused by pressing the shutter release button. If you are traveling with an SLR camera or digital SLR camera, check your operating instructions to see whether a mirror lockup function is available. This is because mirror shake can also lead to blurring. For longer exposure times, every camera manufacturer or some third-party manufacturers offer remote triggers. These are just as suitable as using the self-timer to release your camera without blurring. At the same time, they usually offer the option of keeping the camera shutter open for as long as required and exposing the image for the desired time. To do this, however, you must leave the automatic mode of your camera and select the bulb or B setting. To still get the correct exposure, you can use an external light meter or a light meter app for your smartphone. Even in bright sunlight, you have the option of achieving longer exposure times or even exposure times lasting seconds. I would like to introduce you to a few possibilities. Firstly, you simply close the aperture of the lens to a smaller value. If available, use your camera's automatic aperture priority for this. For example, if the camera's light meter shows 125 second at aperture 5.6, you will get an exposure time of 160 second at aperture 8, only 130 second at aperture 11, 115 second at aperture 16, and finally 1/8 second at aperture 22. Bear in mind, however, that most lenses lose their sharpness performance at apertures of 16 or 22 at the latest, due to the optical aberration of diffraction. Just give it a try. The relationship between aperture and exposure time will quickly become familiar to you. Unfortunately, you will rarely get the desired result with this method. Secondly, if you have a digital camera, whether DSLR or mirrorless, then you can also ensure a longer exposure time by reducing the sensor sensitivity. Let's stick with the example above and assume that the exposure took place at ISO 400. If you now set your camera to ISO 200, then the 1/125 second and aperture 5.6 already becomes 1/62 at the same aperture. If you select ISO 100, then you already achieve 1/32 at aperture 5.6. Please note that the quality of the images decreases significantly below the nominal sensitivity of the sensor, usually ISO 125 to 64. Above all, the exposure latitude suffers greatly. And now, of course, you can also use the first option and close the aperture further. At f8, the correct exposure time would now be 1/15 second, at f11, 1/8 second, at f16, 1/4 second. If you combine the two previous options, this can sometimes be enough to achieve the desired effect. Thirdly, and also the best option, the use of filters. Even a polarizing filter will give you a longer exposure of about 1 to 2 f-stops. In combination with the first two methods, this is worth a try. To really achieve the best results, you cannot avoid buying neutral density or ND filters. These filters are grey to dark grey in color and therefore let less light onto the sensor or film. The table below shows you how much light each filter absorbs. Vario grey filters are particularly convenient. Similar to a polarizing filter, these allow the light transmission to be continuously adjusted by turning the mount. Please ensure that the optical quality of the filter is excellent. Cheaper adjustable grey filters in particular can lead to color distortions or an unevenly darkened image. I recommend adjustable grey filters from B&W or Heliopan. Here you can see an ND64 grey filter, not adjustable. Grey filters can usually also be combined. This adds up the effect of the individual filters. However, depending on the design of the filter system, there is a risk of vignetting. The optical quality can also deteriorate if too many filters are combined. As you can see, long exposures during the day are quite easy to take. At the end of the video, I'll show you a few pictures that I took with grey filters. Thank you for your interest, stay healthy and see you in the next video.